So one of the stranger things that's happened to me in my career, which has had very, very many strange things happen. It's a funny business. You couldn't possibly make up stories that were any wilder or funny than what actually happens in veterinary medicine. So I had a little dog named Cricket, who was a schnauzer, pretty small. He was only 12 or 13 pounds. And Cricket came in to the hospital I was working at, but he came in after hours, so I wasn't at work. And he had gotten into Gorilla Glue. And if there's anything you don't want your animals to get into, Gorilla Glue would be it. So he had it all over his face. And schnauzers have a long beard and mustache, and he had basically glued himself shut, glued his mouth shut. So the doctor that was there sedated him and clipped all his hair off, so he was completely bald in the front end. And the next day I heard about it, and I called the owner and said, "How's he doing?" And he said, "Well, he won't eat anything. Not anything." And this dog was a good eater, so it was pretty out of character for him not to eat at all. And so he came back to the hospital, but he was at work, so he came back after hours, and I wasn't there again. So they took an x-ray, and the vet was there, said, "He's clearly eating. He's got a stomach full of food." And so the next day I called him back again, and he said, "I swear, Doc, he's not eating anything, not even a nibble." So I looked at the x-ray, and I brought him back in, and I said, "I think there's a pretty good chance that your dog ate some Gorilla Glue and didn't just glue his mouth closed." So now we're on the third day, and we went to surgery, and we pulled out his stomach, which was about this big, which is very large for a 12-pound dog, and Gorilla Glue continues to expand as long as it's wet for quite a while. So this poor little stomach was just bursting. So we made an incision, and out popped this perfectly stomach-shaped ball of Gorilla Glue that had a couple pieces of grass stuck to it. Sutured him up, and he did great. And the next day he ate a full meal and just recovered really, really well.
Don't let them fool you. Cats eat weird things too.
All right, so one of the more interesting cat stories I have, which all of these seem to be leading to surgery, but this was a cat who came in and it had vomited 12 times overnight, just one after another, after another, after another. And so it had been fine the day before. The owner brought it in. It was a young cat. Young animals tend to get in more trouble by eating silly things. So I took an x-ray, and we stared and stared and stared and stared at this x-ray because it looked like a cowboy hat inside the cat. So when I went back in the room, it was a mom and two elementary age kids. Said, "You know, what's up with you guys?" And they were, because they were dressed up, and they said, "Well, it's Dr. Seuss Day at school, so we get to dress like one of the characters from a Dr. Seuss book." So they were both dressed up. We had the cat. You know, I told her, I think this looks like a cowboy hat. And the little boy said, "It is. It's a Lego cowboy hat." So the cat had eaten a Lego cowboy hat, and that's why it was vomiting so much. So I was talking to the mom about what we needed to do for surgery, and the young man and his sister were whispering back and forth, and pretty soon they started laughing, and they laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And I said, "What is so funny with you two?" And they said, "Don't you get it? It's Dr. Seuss Day. It's the hat in the cat instead of the cat in the hat." And that cat did very well after surgery too.